much money can a newsletter make?
It could be in the millions. It depends on how big your email list is and how much output. It could be $10,000 a month to $1 million a month. It all depends on how big your list is and your niche. If you're focused on a certain niche, then yes, you're going to make a lot of money with your email newsletters.
Morning Brew sold for $75 million.
Oh, yeah.
Sam Parr, doesn't he have The Hustle from My First Million podcast?
Yes. Also, he sold his to Hubs.
Sold for $30 million. They're partners of HubSpot now. Oh, what's the other guy's name?
His
Shane,
host.
Yeah, Shane
with Milk
Curry.
Road.
That's it.
Yeah.
Sold 7 figures, and they did that in less than 12 months.
Yeah, and just using like Beehive, like the simplest platform. So
what's Beehive?
So Beehive is an email service provider, right? So think about if MailChimp, if ConvertKit, other ESP out there, Substack, pretty much the same thing. So it's just an email service provider that allows you to send out emails to your subscribers.
Tyler, I believe, is one of the co-owners of Beehive, and he was from Morning Brew. Wasn't he the second?
I want to say
from Morning Brew,
third. So yeah, second or third.
Daniel Roman, also known as the newsletter dude. Why do you think someone should have a newsletter?
So think about if you had a big following on Twitter or on Instagram, Facebook, or TikTok. Let's say you had 1 million followers and you did something wrong, or they banned you. They banned your account. You pretty much lost your subscribers. You can't make any money. You can't communicate with them. And so having a newsletter, you own that email list, right? If you're on Instagram, YouTube, TikTok, those subscribers are not your subscribers. Those are those platforms' users. You cannot export them. And so having an email list, having a newsletter, it's just, you have that one-on-one connection anytime. So if you got banned on TikTok, you got hacked on Facebook, you can still have a way to communicate to your audience, to your followers still.
You own something versus having so many people build businesses off of YouTube and Instagram, like you're saying. And we've seen it before. If you get canceled or you get kicked off a platform, you don't have anything.
And that's the scary part, right? You lose it all, right? Then you got to start from the bottom again.
What made you start a newsletter?
Good question. I did not know what a newsletter was 6 months ago, 8 months. I started researching about email marketing last year at the same time, this time of the month, because of my 9-to-5 job. And so I just went into a rabbit hole. For the last 3 months, I took courses, right? I just watched a lot of YouTube videos, and the video that made me, I don't know if Ali Abdal, the YouTuber. Yeah. So he talked about in the video about newsletters. And so from there, I just started to research a lot more, and I just got hooked in. I was like, okay, let's just start one for fun and see what happens. And so that's why I started the newsletter.
What's your newsletter about?
So it's going to be meta, but it's going to be about newsletters, right? So how strategies that I see other newsletters doing to grow their newsletter. And so it's just mostly about newsletters.
How long did it take you to get it up and running?
Oh, what do you mean by that? Do you mean like the first
from the concept or from the initial idea of, hey, I want to start a newsletter, to coming up with the idea, to then getting its Beehive set up and everything, and then going into your first couple subscribers? What was that process like?
It took me a week just to figure out what first I wanted to write about, and then just finding the right email service provider. And so just doing a lot of research, either from Beehive or ConvertKit were my 2 options right there that I was looking at. And in my first few subscribers, it was probably after sign up, less than probably 10 hours. I already had maybe 10 subscribers already. So
who did you learn from?
Who did I learn from? So other than Ali Dal, right? I just followed on X. I pretty much just searched email marketing, and I just started to follow a lot of people who were talking about email marketing, and on YouTube as well. I did a lot of search there on email marketing. And so from a lot of creators. So Ali Abdal was one, of course. I then found Parr, who we just talked about in the beginning, and Noah Kagan as well was another one. And so those were the few people that were talking about it. And so I was like, let's do this then.
So just from their tweets and everything, you're able to
just from their tweets and YouTube videos as well.
So did you invest any money into starting it?
The first 9 months? No, zero. That's the best thing about email marketing newsletters, right? You don't need anything. So I signed up for Beehive, took the free plan, closed them because of the 2,500 subscribers that I can have with them, right? Up to adding the free plan. And it was only actually on Black Friday, I actually just upgraded my Beehive account just because they were having a sale, right? For the whole year. So for the first 9 months, no money.
You upgraded it. What was the basic plan and what did you pay for?
So the basic free plan only gives you, like I said, 2,500, and then it gives you recommendations, and that's pretty much it. And recommendations. So I paid for the scale plan, which is the highest tier that they have for the whole year. And that just allows me to have automations now. So just being able to have automations helps a lot, and being able to also, not just automations, but survey forms using their AI tool as well, being able to do a lot of A/B testing. That's some of the things now that comes with the scale plan now.
So if I want to start a newsletter, what's the first thing I need to do?
First thing you need to do is first figure out what you want to write about. That's pretty much it. And what do you want out of it? Do you want your newsletter to provide to other people?
So I need to figure out what I'm going to write about, or what problem or value I'm going to give, and what problem I can solve for somebody.
Yeah.
So once I have that figured out, what's my next step?
Next step is sign up to any email service provider. Doesn't even matter which one, because they're all the same pretty much. And the best thing is that if you're not a fan of one provider, just export your list and just switch to the other provider. So that's your second step. Would have to be to sign up to either ConvertKit, MailChimp, Beehive, Substack. Doesn't matter which one. Just sign up. Choose one, any.
And you went with Beehive. What made you choose Beehive?
So first off, because the Milk Road, I saw a lot of popular newsletters were on it. Arnold, which I can't pronounce his last name, but Arnold, the movie guy, the actor, right?
Arnold Schwarzenegger.
Yes. His team was also on Beehive as well. And just some of my favorite newsletters. And I just really like their editor as well too. When it comes to editing the newsletter, and the design is probably the main reason that sold me. And I was like, okay, let's just go to Beehive. Even though I was really eyeing ConvertKit, but at the end, I just liked the design and the ease of use, and just signed up to Beehive.
So we have our idea, the problem we're going to solve, the value we're going to bring. We have newsletter provider that we're going to use. What's next?
Is getting your first 10 subscribers. So how you do this is pretty simple, is just tell your friends and family. That's all you got to do, is just tell them that you're starting a newsletter so that you have at least 10 subscribers, and your family is and your friends are going to support you. They're going to sign up, and now you have someone to write to every week. So that's the next step.
For creating the newsletter itself though, does Beehive go over that? What about the copy? What about the design, all that?
So Beehive does go over that. They have a really good help center that you can go and check for that. But yeah, just keep it simple. Like when it comes to email, you want to have mostly text in your emails, not too much images or videos. So in your design of your template, I recommend you actually start with design a template when you're starting out your Beehive newsletter or any other newsletter. Have a template, and just being able to just keep it simple when it comes to your templates. And yeah,
we've got idea, we've got our provider, we've got our layout, and we have our first 10 customers by friends and family, getting them to sign up.
Yeah.
What's next?
Next is being consistent for now. So just keep showing up to your email newsletter, keep writing every week. If it's a weekly email, then show up every Saturday at the same time every week. And just having those 10 people first subscribe is going to help, because they gave you their email. They expect you something in return. They want to support you. They want to see that email from you. Just show up and just keep consistent.
All right. So we stay consistent after that. How do we grow it from there?
So from there is where you're going to have to selfishly promote your newsletter, like everywhere. So if you're a business owner and you have a website, add your subscriber widget, I guess you call it, or form, right? Yeah. On the top of your site, the bottom of your site, everywhere. And every page, you want to add that subscriber form, start collecting that emails from your potential customers to subscribe to that newsletter. So that's number one. And then on social platforms, if you're big on X or on LinkedIn right now, you want to promote it. Like on X, you want to have it on your bio, your newsletter link. You want to, every time you tweet out something, follow up with your email newsletter, where if they did that tweet, hey, maybe they might like what you have to say in your email newsletter. Just start collecting emails and promoting it.
I've seen a lot of newsletters. A lot of people promote on Twitter. I feel like that's where I've found out about newsletters. It's a lot of promotion. Have you seen any other promotion sites or anywhere else that works for promotion?
then would have to be the next area as well, where I'm starting to also see it here in LinkedIn as well. And I think it's because it's also a text-based platform, just like Twitter, and newsletters is a written platform as well. And so it just makes so much sense to that people are promoting it there as well.
Yeah.
On LinkedIn.
Yeah. What about forum sites like Reddit and Quora, another one? Have you seen people push that?
Yes. And I've seen Twitter Creator, but he's pretty much killing it when it comes to growing his newsletter on Reddit. You just have to be a little careful there because I think users on Reddit are a little bit much more strict, I think, with the rules and everything. One way that I've seen people grow their newsletter with Reddit is if they have a certain niche, right? Let's say they have a business about farming, they go on Reddit all about farming as well, and just start commenting and providing a lot of value in that comment. And then at the end, they have it like a link where it says, hey, if you want to like learn more about this, I recommend you check out this website where this guy's talking about it, and they're plugging their newsletter right there. So that's one way that I've seen a lot of people grow their email newsletters is by just providing a lot of value in that one comment. It's like a paragraph of value.
So it sounds like it's just a value first led thing.
Yeah. Yeah.
Spread your word, spread value, and then people sign up to receive more value, essentially.
Yeah.
Are there any other ways that you grow a newsletter or you've seen or heard people have been successful at? Any other tactics or strategies?
It would have to be seen as well. It's been one, which is where they mostly plug their newsletter at the end of the podcast, where if they really liked it, to go like maybe share behind the scenes of how they did to prepare for that podcast episode, right?
Mm-hmm.
And another way, but it hasn't really worked out too much, I've seen is as YouTube is much more video based, and having it in the description, really nobody really checks that out right there.
Mm-hmm.
So what I've seen is actually people would make their own like ad block where they're talking in their video, but then they stop the video and to promote their newsletter to, hey, if you really enjoy this, you can be in my newsletter as well. So that's one interesting way that I've slowly started to see as well on YouTube.
Yeah, the YouTube route. I feel like that would be more work to promote something whenever they would just become a content creator at that point if they're going to get the views.
Yeah. So it's just a lot more extra work on YouTube.
Yeah. Do people do paid ads with that?
Yes. Wait, what do you mean?
For newsletters?
Yeah. So Morning Brew was one. I did a lot. Yeah. They paid a lot of creators to talk about their Morning Brew. They sponsor a lot of newsletters as well, Morning Brew. So like that people could go subscribe.
How do I even know what to write about?
So this is a common question I get a lot in my replies, in my welcome emails.
I can see why.
So yeah. So what I tell people is their first 5 to 10 issues of their newsletter, just write about what you're interested in. It doesn't matter what it is, right? If you're interested about farming or like cryptocurrency or Facebook ads or whatever, or newsletters, right? Just write whatever you want the first 5, 10 issues, right? Because you only have a few people reading. You'll know by 5 to 10 issues what you really enjoy writing about, right? Like what gets you excited to open that editor up inside of ConvertKit or Beehive, right? And just start typing away.
So I just write a paragraph or two. Is there a format or a framework or something that I follow?
I just tell people to just start writing whatever they're interested in, like any interest that you're into. And that, in my opinion, that's enough. Just start writing. It doesn't matter if it's a paragraph, 2 paragraphs. If it's a long newsletter, just keep writing. If it just gets you really excited and you can't stop writing, then just keep going.
So what is your process for writing? Like when you sit down, what does it look like? What happens?
It's very simple because I have a template. So I already have a pre-format that I have. I have my purity section in my newsletter. Anything that I found interesting the past week that I want to share with my subscribers, I can just copy and paste those links into that section. But then my thought piece, what I want to write about, what I'm going to write about, it's actually pretty simple. I just look at what people are asking their most questions about in my replies. So my welcome is I ask somebody, what's their biggest struggle in newsletters? And I just have a Notion template of just all the questions that I get asked. And then I just go in and just choose one that I want to write about that day and just start researching for the first few days of the week. And then after that, just start doing a rough draft around Wednesday. And then by Thursday, I should have Thursday or Friday, a final draft and ready to publish for Saturday.
Are there any tools that you use for that process right there for writing itself?
So Notion is one, of course, like I mentioned, to capture the ideas is probably one of my bigger ones. And then I use a lot of ChatGPT as well, which I've slowly been starting to use a little bit more just to get like when I ask it questions, just to see what it comes up with as well. So that I could steal that idea and then just make it my own as well. When I'm on X as well, I just search on X and see what people were writing about to that problem.
You said you started using a little bit more ChatGPT. How are you using it in your writing?
So it could be for ideas. So sometimes when I have an idea on my Notion template, I take that idea and then I'll ask ChatGPT what are some of the 10 biggest problems from this part of the question. And so it just gives me a list of 10 examples. So that's one way that I'm using now ChatGPT to give me those ideas of what I might want to include in my newsletter for that week.
I would just think I'd run out of things to talk about at some point.
That's true. I think a lot of people do. But so I took this awesome course this year called Ship 3530. And that course is awesome because Dickie Bush, and I forgot his co-founder's name as well, they share ways that you can use ChatGPT for your idea spend. They'll share with you how you can write your prompts. And I've been using that. I've been using those things, those prompts, those lessons I learned from that course as well to help when it comes to ideas. You might think that you might run out of ideas, but once you enter that information, you just have unlimited of ideas from there to break it down.
And then you can use ChatGPT, restructure those same questions and ideas.
Yeah. And just deep diver into that. I could tell it like, hey, can you give me like a deeper dive from point number 2? And it will just go into a rabbit hole with me.
Are you setting a schedule on what topic? For instance, you write about newsletters, right? Is this one week about problems and the next week about something else? And do you have a framework that you use for ongoing, or is it you sit down every week and just start from blank or start from scratch?
So it depends on, sometimes what I do is I'll go to my Notion template, and depending on how many questions I have from the replies I get from my welcome email, if I get one that's recurring every time, then that's the one I'm going to write about. But also maybe I read something a different other, and I was like, okay, like I want to give my take on it. I did my own research on it. And so now I want to give my own take. And so I'll just write about that. So pretty much it depends on what I'm excited about writing that week and what I want to write about.
And you said you had an idea bank. So I'm guessing like you're out driving around and you have an idea of a newsletter. You're going to jot that down and then put that in an idea bank.
Yeah. So I have my pen and paper, a notebook, and I just write it down. If I'm going on a walk, I carry that as well and just start writing down my ideas that I come up with when it comes to the newsletter.
So this is something too that I feel like I would struggle with and you need to get right is a subject line. You think of subject lines that have caught your attention?
Yeah. So there's one on Black Friday. Yeah. Black Friday. So there's this awesome marketing creator on X called Katie.
The purple and right? Yellow.
Yes. We like
profile,
from, we buy from. Yeah.
Yeah.
So he had an awesome subject line that time on Black Friday where her subject line to that newsletter, and it came out the same day on Black Friday where it was like, do you want to make more sales than these guys? And like the emoji arrow pointing up and the emoji arrow pointing down. And so that just caught my attention right there. And I clicked it, of course, and read it. But like she was able to just capture my attention. And a lot of people took screenshots of it and shared it to her. They just loved that idea because it was just so good because everybody was talking about sales, right? How to like 10% off, 30% off for Black Friday. But no, hers was like, you want to make more sales than the email up there and email down in the inbox with the emoji arrows. So that one was one of my favorite subject lines right now.
What could we learn from that? How could we apply that to something else?
To just have fun with your subject lines. I think a lot of people think that it should be very serious, your subject lines, but honestly, just have fun with them. And so I think just like in life, if you take it too serious, you can miss out on a lot. So just having fun with your subject lines.
Cody Sanchez, she's got a newsletter, Contrarian Thinking, or something along those lines. Don't hold me exactly to that. She made a YouTube video or something, post one time, challenging her editors to come up with the best subject line. And it was something on a tree trimming company that they were going to talk about. A tree trimming company scaled their business, boring businesses. She challenged them that she could come up with the best subject line, that nobody could beat her. And then so the next day they meet, and I don't remember the exact subject lines that they came up with. And I don't remember exactly hers, but hers was pretty much something like, I love wood or something like that. Something crazy out of the box like that. It's going to grab attention. And then it was about a tree trimming company, like I love wood. And that's what she had. And they split tested this. And of course she won by tenfold. But I thought that was really cool. What have you seen work best with yours so far?
Would have to be just keeping it short, under, I want to say, 5 words. What I've been doing for the past now 2 months is not adding the preview line as well. So removing that to stand out, because every email that you get in my inbox has a preview line, right? And so mine doesn't. And I think that just helps a little bit to stand out as well. But keeping it short, your subject line.
Just being a little different from taking that out and standing out outside of the norm in the inbox. What other little tips have you seen that work like that?
Like tips, do you mean for what would like one context?
Anyway, like anything.
Would have to be also on X as well when it comes to promoting your newsletter, is by doing like a short, like small tease to, which makes you stand out as well to when it comes to your email newsletters. Yeah, like a teaser. And that's about it.
Is that part of when your newsletter goes out, you also send out a teaser for that and then plug your newsletter in Twitter as well?
Yeah. Justin Welch does this a lot. He teases his on Friday evening, Friday afternoon. He teases his newsletter of what his readers are going to be reading about. And then that's it for him. So I think, or maybe he has changed it a little bit where he follows up maybe on Saturday and Sunday, but I've stepped it up where I tease it on Friday as well in the evening, but then I will also follow up on Saturday as a teaser and then on Sunday as well, just to make sure that I get eyes on as much people as possible on X.
Yeah. Staying relevant and being in front of people the most is what's going to get it. That's something I can't get over. I need to get over too. I need to create more content and get it out there, because the more eyeballs you see, more likely it is for somebody to sign up or do something or take action.
Yeah.
So I know gaining the first 100 subscribers is always the hardest. I've always heard that. How would you do it now?
Signing up on X, having a Twitter account, and optimizing your bio on Twitter. So make sure your profile is all set up perfectly, your banner as well, and making sure in your bio, where in the written part, to include your newsletter. Don't have a link tree or anything like that, like a link. I don't know what you call those, like where you can add like as many links as you want. Because when a person clicks that, they're not going to click your newsletter. You're going to click like on your Instagram account or something else.
YouTube, right? Or something, get distracted.
Yeah. So just have your newsletter. That's it. And start engaging a lot on Twitter to grow your newsletter. You don't have to be talking about your newsletter like every single day, but just engaging with other people in your area, in your industry. So if you're talking about if you're a farmer, we have a farming newsletter, engaging with other creators on Twitter who are also in the farming industry, just supporting them, liking their tweets, commenting, because then those likes also, they get shown on their followers' feed as well. And then that follower might look at your like comment or something and might think it's interesting or cool. Will click your Twitter handle and go on your bio, and he'll know what you want him to do. Pretty much to go subscribe to your newsletter. Right now, that's the best way to grow to 100 subscribers. It's just engaging a lot on Twitter.
What's something you would say more about than somebody else in the newsletter industry?
Probably it would have to be the engagement part of the newsletter. It's engaging with other creators and working with them to grow their newsletter with my newsletter as well.
Like cross promotion. Okay. Is that how a lot of them grow?
Yes. And it's probably one of the best ways to grow as well when you're starting out, is recommending other newsletters. Like in the first 100, if you're still reaching for 100, you can reach out maybe to another newsletter creator who's smaller as well and see if you want to work with him to recommend his newsletter, my newsletter, like his and yours. But what I think you should do is not do that, but also just recommend the newsletter without the creator knowing that you're recommending his newsletter, right? And if you're giving him a lot of subscribers, he's going to see where those subscribers are coming from. It's going to show from your newsletter. And then he's going to reach out to you and he's going to just thank you. And you have a now connection now, right? Now you have a reason to communicate with that creator as well. And maybe in the future, be able to work on something together.
Good perspective. You would think a lot of those readers are also other newsletter readers. So of course, that's a good place to market to.
Yeah. And so that's what I did. So I actually when I started my newsletter before I had 100 subscribers, I started to recommend the person who did the ads for Milk Road, the kid. I don't know. So he started a newsletter and I just really enjoyed his work and the newsletter. And so I started recommending his newsletter Like I didn't even notify him or anything. I just did it on my own. I think I gave him like maybe 50 to 100 email subscribers. And then I think on the 5th, he just asked me a random DM saying, hey, thanks for this. And ever since that, we just stay in communication now, like at least twice a month or something, where we just have now that connection where I could go with it. I could go to him and see if ask him questions or if he needs help on something, he asks me. So now I create a new friend pretty much.
Has he featured you at all or pushed anything like that?
No, because I have not requested anything like that from him.
Yeah.
I'm waiting for something bigger that then I will see if he'll be down to do that.
Yeah. You don't want to be somebody just asking all the time for something.
Yeah, no, I have only done it like with a few small creators, but other than that's about it.
You've been doing something I've noticed or I've seen just lately, promoting people on your newsletter.
Yeah.
What's your angle on that?
If I could provide as much knowledge, like sometimes maybe that person just does like a better job of explaining something else, like a certain topic than what I can ever do. So I just would rather just push it there and also just be able to build a connection, build my circle of other newsletter creators I could go to for help as well. And so once they see that I'm providing them with something, hopefully in the future, they'll be able to provide something in return.
Value first.
Yeah. Value first.
Have you seen creative angles with other newsletters that you've enjoyed? I know you've probably seen a lot of startups and newsletters.
Yes. I don't know if you know this YouTube channel called Smart Nonsense.
Never heard of it.
No. Okay. They have a cool YouTube channel and they have an interesting newsletter. It's pretty much a comic strip newsletter that they send out almost, I think, pretty much daily. They have an artist and they just do a long comic strip of explaining something. It could be about anything. It could be like, how Elon Musk built SpaceX, let's say. And so they'll draw these interesting characters, like almost like a comic strip, and it's just images and like maybe one line of text under every image explaining the story of how Elon Musk just built SpaceX or something. So that's an interesting one that I've seen right now when it comes to newsletters. And that one that really stands out because like it's growing like crazy and it's just really fun.
I would have never thought of that comic. I have a buddy actually who is a podcaster and a YouTuber, and he does very well with comics, like action figures and a lot of the like Marvel movies that come out and things. He covers a lot of that stuff. He needs to start a newsletter. I'm going to talk to him about that actually.
Yes, he does.
That would also too, with AI and everything now, a lot of the video to text, the transcripts, you can put transcripts into that. That's how we come up with our show notes now. We use that through everything, I feel like. So it wouldn't be that much of a hassle to read content into a newsletter as well.
Yeah. And I've seen a lot of the newsletters do that, right? They just break it down, maybe a YouTube video or something, and they just share a deeper dive in the newsletter, let's say. So yeah, no, and there's just a great way to repurpose content without having to really make any like extra work for it.
Have you seen any helpful tools to repurpose things? That's something it took us forever to find something. We finally found one little tool, but it's just for transcriptions to turn like video into a YouTube video into text. And that's like it. Have you used any other helpful tools or seen any other tools?
Yeah. For YouTube, I actually have one. I don't know if you know it. It's an AI tool. It's called Opus Clip. So I don't know if you make shorts videos, but it pretty much breaks down your long form video. And the AI will cut every video up and try to cut it up where only the most valuable pieces of that long form video. So that you just upload to, and it already has the captions, everything made for you. So all you need to do is just export it from Opus Clip and just upload it to YouTube. So that's an awesome tool.
We've tried using that with our podcast. I love it. The only downside is you can't edit. You can edit the tool itself, the video that it captures. You can't cut or take on. So whatever story it grabs, even if it needs the first 5 more seconds of it, you can't edit that. That's the only downfall. If they could figure that out, it would be a perfect tool. But that's the only thing.
And I think it's going to get better just because it's still early stages. All that information that you're uploading into their servers, the AI is going to learn like
every day. What are your top 2 newsletters? If you had to only choose 2.
So one would have to be Reverse Growth. I don't know if you heard about that one. So that's number 1, Reverse Growth. And the other one would have to be, what's the name of it again? Peter's Published Press. That's the number 2.
What do you like about those? Each one of them.
So Reverse Growth is awesome because Chanel, the creator of that newsletter, she breaks down pretty much how that certain creator grew to where they were. So you can pretty much deal and learn from them as well. Like she just breaks it down from how they reached to 100,000, let's say, subscribers on YouTube or Twitter or whatever. And so she just takes a deep dive every week of one creator. So that's one, just kind of one of the lessons they can learn from it. And Publish Press, because it's about the creator economy pretty much. And it's probably one of the best newsletters to learn about the creator economy and just to stay up to date of what's happening in the creator economy as well.
You just mentioning that just makes me think there are so many avenues and so many niches or so many directions you could go with a newsletter. I feel like find something you're good at essentially, or you're interested in and you want to learn more about, and then maybe just take some avenue or another skill or stack it with that. And you would have a unique newsletter that somebody's interested in.
Yep. And it might be hard the first few issues just to find that, but once you do, you're good to go.
What are some ways people can make money with newsletters?
Hey, so the most common one is ad sponsorships, right? Just ad placements in your newsletter, right? Where if you have a daily newsletter, then every day you could just have a little sponsor slot. If you have a weekly one as well, sponsor slot. That's number one. Is the most like basic one that you get you to start with. Next is creating your own product, right? So if you have your own course, you can do that as well. Affiliate marketing as well. So promoting somebody else's product in your weekly newsletter to your subscribers. That's another way. Recommendations, paid recommendations. So I've been making money by just recommending other newsletters. Like when you subscribe to my newsletter, I have 3 other newsletters I'm recommending. And if you subscribe to them and you say subscribe or something like that to them, then I make like it could be $2 or something like that per subscriber. And that's pretty much, oh, and of course, what do you call it? Where it's like a Patreon model kind of style where pretty much just pay the newsletter creator like directly and you pay $5 a month or something to read the newsletter without any ads or anything like that.
Subscription based.
So
yeah.
that's another way. Yeah. Subscription based. There you go.
So I feel like you need to have pretty good content or pretty good value for somebody to pay. What's normal price? Is it like a couple dollars to sign up typically?
Yes. So yeah, what I've seen is like the lowest payment is like $5, or if you want to pay yearly, pay, let's say $100 or whatever, and they give you all these good benefits, but like your benefits have to be really good to want to pay somebody like the whole year to read your newsletter.
Yeah. I wonder what the conversion rate is on that end and how much they have to push for that, I guess I would say. I feel like you clearly don't start paid. You kind of transition into that, I'm guessing.
I mean, you could start with paid and just get your subscribers used to it. Hey, you have also this paid subscription that you could go and pay if you want like more behind the scenes or more details that I'm not sharing in the free version. But yeah, I would recommend you wait until you have a certain amount of subscribers.
What is something you wish you knew starting out that you later on learned in your journey?
So that it's okay to take a break. That's the number one thing that I'm learning now is to take a break. You don't have to be working. It doesn't even matter if it's a newsletter or whatever, but take a break. It's okay if you don't show up for one day, go relax, go have fun. So that's the one thing.
How much time do you think you spend on your newsletter a week?
Oh, geez. Let's just say about 2 hours a day. And that's not like writing or anything like that. That's just promoting it. That's just engaging a lot on X. That's just a lot of it engaging on LinkedIn now. I started slowly, right, as well. So yeah, about 2 hours a day. So you can do the math there.
Yeah, that's a lot. Outside of just actual sitting down, how long does it take you to just sit there and write?
It would have to be 2 hours. 2 hours just for the draft.
And that's
and then
the
like
week?
Once a week. That's just 2 hours of writing.
So if you could start all over again, what would that look like? What would you do differently?
Invest in the platform first. That's one thing. To just and pay for whatever platform you're going to use for your newsletter. So yeah, that's probably one of the main things because of the automations. Being able to provide value to my new subscribers, like over the next 7 days, where I send them emails. Like I just started to do that since Black Friday. So yeah, paying to use the platform to get those extra features of the automations.
Were those features things you knew about before? Or is it something that you just learned about and then didn't even know it was there? Ignorance of bliss.
Oh no, I knew about it. I just did not want to spend the money on the platform. I just want to make sure that I was going to stay with the newsletter and not just waste money. So it took me 9 months, but I finally pulled the trigger.
What is that thing that you're talking about? That
So
feature?
automations. So automations are your best friend when it comes to email marketing. So let's say you subscribe to my email newsletter. I'll have a welcome email that will pretty much welcome you. So after that, I have an automation where I wait one day later to send you another email. It could be an email about the most popular like reads from my email newsletter that were popular in 2020. And then I have another automation where I send you the next day another email automatically to fill out a survey to give me, I just want to know, hey, do you have a newsletter? If you do, which ESP are you in? Just set up the market information about you. So these are just automations for sending out emails automatically without you having to do any work. And it's just a great way just to keep your new subscriber fresh in their minds about you and your newsletter as well.
So it has those templated out, when to send them out. You just got to plug in your information and that's it.
Yep, that's it. You can set it to wait 24 hours, 48 hours, 60 days, whatever you want, depending on what type of automation you're looking for in your email marketing or your newsletter. So I just have it for the first 7 days. You'll get one email from me every single day for the first 7 days.
How much of that did you have to come up with? Is it pretty templated out? Because I'm thinking right now, I'm going to start a newsletter. I don't know what I'm going to talk about, much less talk about for 7 days straight.
So it doesn't have to be like a big thing. Like my emails are like 1 to 2 sentences, 3 sentences maybe for the first 7 days. So the first day, I just want to know what you had for breakfast and what's your biggest struggle in newsletter. Second day is sharing the top reads, right, from my newsletter, the popular ones. Third day, survey form. Fourth day, I'm plugging in like my product. I was like, hey, are you interested in this? And then just keep providing as much value as possible in every newsletter.
So on that first one, you mentioned a question. What they had for breakfast? What's the purpose of asking the question? Are you trying to get engagement? Are you trying to get them to respond back?
Yeah. So if you look at my subject line when you subscribe, that's also the subject line. What did you have for breakfast? It's something so curious. It's very curious to a person. They're like, why is this person sending me this? They click it. And also, yes, to create engagement, because I've seen a lot of people, a lot of newsletters do the same thing over and over where they're just telling the person, hey, if this email landed in the spam folder, can you manually move me to the inbox? And that's it. And so something even better that Gmail or Yahoo mail even much more than telling person to move your email to the inbox is engagement. So when that person replies to you and you receive that reply, Gmail's going to look at that email and be like, okay, so this person actually wants to hear from you more. So let's make sure that your emails land in the inbox folder now for this guy, for this subscriber.
How'd you learn all that stuff? Like, is this something that you just gain over time?
Yes. So I love trial and error. My first welcome email was telling a person to move my email to the inbox folder. I was copying what other people were doing and I just started to read a lot more. I subscribed to other people's newsletters about just for ability and all that. And I started to read, hey, like that Gmail or Yahoo likes it more, the engagement than telling somebody to move. And it's also, I think just more fun than this person just to move your inbox, to move the email to the inbox and then having them to write back to you like an engaged question. What did you have for breakfast? And I get some funny questions. I got some funny answers. And so it's just really fun.
So I know that you just dropped a course on this. What is in that course?
So it's a beginner course of how to get your first 100 subscribers for your newsletter. It goes over the basics of terminology and a lot more, but I also a bonus one that a lot of people have been enjoying is the Twitter bonus, right? Where I'm pretty much showing you examples, not just by tweets, but other examples of other people's tweets of what they use to grow their newsletter with Twitter. And so that's pretty much it.
So if I get this course, it's a blueprint to get started, to know what to write about, or I guess the frameworks to write about. Essentially, is that included in it?
Yeah, pretty much it tells you what to write about and just other things that you'll want to know, like having a welcome email, you should have one, and much more.
Are there agencies or people you can pay to set a newsletter up for you? Because I know there's a lot of nuances and little things that go into it. Have you seen people do that?
I have not seen agencies set email newsletters up for people or for businesses. I have not seen that yet, but I have seen agencies for people to write their content, to handle their ads on it as well. And yeah, that's pretty much it, but not for the creating part of it.
Okay. So agencies write newsletters, but you haven't seen anybody setting up newsletters?
Setting up yet. Yeah. Have not seen that yet.
That might be a good business for somebody to start then. because there might be something there too.
For be working on their teeth.
What now?
Might be working out something for setups.
Really?
For businesses.
That would be cool. Keep me posted on that one too. Because I just think about it too, for businesses at least, I'm super busy. If I would have, that's the main reason why I haven't started a newsletter.
But what would you want that agency to do for you for that newsletter?
If I'm being honest, I would love an agency to do everything. But right now, I probably don't want to invest the money that it would cost for the agency to do everything. So if somebody could have it there and get it done for me, set up my account, give me the frameworks that I need, and then I just do a plug and play and even take out even the guesswork of a schedule. Because I feel like that could stop a lot of people is, I have to come up with this. I have to come up with that. That's a lot of stuff to come up with on top of what they're already doing. If they are running a business and they're going to start the business or start the newsletter based on the business or to promote that business, that's a lot to add to their plate of a new skill that they don't have right now.
Yeah.
Taking the guesswork out of the setup and the frameworks and make it more of a plug and play of, hey, you do this during this time. It takes you this long. And here's your schedule that you follow. Do it. And I feel like you could even sell that too of done for you newsletter setup, 30 minutes, something like that. Yeah. I feel like there's the pitch as well.
Yeah, for sure.
There's a new business idea too for you.
Yeah. Just something to take it.
Yeah. Yeah. Let me know too if that ever comes about. I might be your first customer.
I have to send you a DM in the next couple of weeks.
Okay. So you have your course to get started and to grow, get your first 100. The hardest part, get your first 100 subscribers.
Yeah.
Where else can people reach out to you, get a hold of you?
The best place on X, Twitter. Just go DM me. I answer almost every DM.
Daniel, man, I really appreciate you coming on today.
I want to thank you for inviting me to my first podcast. So
absolutely, yeah.
And thank you for...
You did great, man.
Thank you for making it very easy.
Hey, if you're still listening, hopefully you got some value out of this or amusement. Either way, I really appreciate you for listening. My goal with this podcast is to build something of value while also showing others that it's possible to do the same. And what I mean by that is I'm not perfect at this. I fumble, I stutter, and I just want to show that it's okay. If you've been putting something off, this is me telling you to go for it. So I need your help in growing this, and there's two main ways a podcast grows. One is through ratings and reviews, and two is through word of mouth. So I can only do it with your help. If you can leave me a 5-star rating and review on Apple Podcasts and Spotify, as well as post this to your social, it doesn't grow without you. Thank you. Talk to you all next week.